All right, got another product feature from HomeGymCon 2025. I believe it was one of the sleeper hits. It was one of my top 5 things that I saw there personally. And kind of as predicted, I did not think there'd be a lot of coverage for this, and I haven't seen a whole lot of coverage from this since then. I saw a lot of people just kind of walking by this booth, not giving it the time of day, because it has that stigma of being one of these old school, if you grew up in the 80s and 90s like me, old school, which really defined home gyms at that time, home gym, multi-gym, machine station type machines. I am talking about this Inspire M3, which many people say is kind of like the top of the line multi-gym that's kind of still holding its own in this space, has a lot of really cool features. You guys have asked me for some time to check it out, which is one of the reasons I was interested in that. But for a long period of time, even on this channel, I've been saying that these multi-use, multi-gym home gyms, I think they're gonna come back in popularity. And in some ways that goes back to my influence just using the Total Gym and other classical home gym items, because I think machines like this had a stigma behind them, especially with the Rogue Fitness and CrossFit influence, which I do believe really has permeated and influenced this home and garage gym space. That's not a bad thing, but as we're starting to see, machines are starting to be a little more socially acceptable. So much so definitely at Home Gym Con, because I've heard people say, and I was saying this too, that it really started to feel like commercial gym con with some of these machines. Not that it was a bad thing, but you saw a lot of just big single station machines. That was definitely cool. And in my mind, when I saw a machine like the Inspire M3 even being there at the show, I was just wondering if people were not coming up there and giving it its fair shake, because even though I'm starting to see more people cover these types of machines, and I'm happy for that, it kind of makes sense, because if you want some sort of a station or a machine to supplement, say, barbells and free weights, and that's why I've kind of alluded to like the Quantum Free Trainer, where that can be definitely a valuable tool for some people. These can be a valid option instead of going ahead and purchasing 2, 3, 4, or 5 various different machines. This is something that can take up a limited space. And I also think, especially for my audience and what I've kind of talked to some of you guys about, some of you guys are not interested in big barbells and squat racks, and you're more interested in like a multi-unit machine, which I do believe strongly that you can still build your body very adequately on a machine such as this, and of course can complement the traditional barbells and dumbbells and free weights and all that stuff as well. So I'm gonna jump into Daniel, the rep, really going through this machine. He did an awesome job. You'll see that here for yourself. He's gonna bust through that. He'll even highlight some things that separate Inspire apart from other companies in their pulleys and cables that I thought was pretty interesting. And then I'll give you guys some commentary on how the exercises and how the machine overall felt.
All right, so this is the Inspire M3 with the optional leg press. When I talk about this, I always like to talk about the leg press first, because no strength training routine is complete without a lower body multi-joint exercise. So this is one of the best leg presses on the industry. We actually ratio this so that the 210 stack is doubled. So you're gonna max out here for your leg press and your calf raise with a 420 stack. So it's an unbelievable add-on. To me, it's the heart and soul of any strength training workout, and it compactly adds on to the side of the main unit, which is over here. So what we have here is the M3. It's an isolateral machine, so it means each side is doing its own work. We're gonna have an isolateral lat pull down and an isolateral press arm. So when we're on here, we can make our adjustments pretty much on the fly, and it's a little bit more like a dumbbell in as much as each side's pulling its own weight. I'm gonna go into my incline here. Now I can continue on here to go into a shoulder press if I like, but what I really wanna show you is that we have these patented handles here, so I can take this, I can do my flies, I can actually use this more like a functional trainer to go in, decline, flat, incline. I can press, and you can see the travel on the arm, so I actually get more resistance as I'm moving through it. One of the really cool, unique things is the ab crunch here, which is rather than the handles up here, I've actually got a pad that comes loose, and I can use it for weighted crunches, and then it just docks right there. Up here, without having to move, the idea is that I don't have to move as much. I want as fast as possible so that I can actually get an efficient workout, right? So this is gonna be my leg extension. I can pull this up, push this down. This is my leg curl. Now, to avoid hyperextension, this pad is on the tibia. It's not above the knee, right? When I'm done, I can pull right out. This adjustment here is unique to the gym. So when I turn around, I can actually take this now, and my face is no longer actually in the pad when I'm doing my overhand rows, right? And again, isolateral, neutral grip, here we go. My lat pull down, I can go wide, I can do my pro grip, I can do my chin, I can do my neutral grip, I can do one arm at a time. So a lot going on up here. And then on the side here, if I want to do, say, an overhead press, I can take this armature up here, I can do my overhead press as well, And then we have the side pulley over here, which is good for your bicep curls, your upright rows, anything you can do with a low row pulley. And that's the M3.
So the first thing I wanted to try was their seated upright leg press, which I'll just say right away felt really good. I went ahead and just adjusted that backrest so I can get a nice deep range of motion. You'll kind of see me squeeze in and out of here a few times. Some people, this is not going to be, you might even want to get deeper than this. I think you actually could. I don't think I really fully put that up all the way, although you can see my butt's just about off, or kind of still on the pad though. Try to go kind of a slow, moderate pace, moderate intensity you can see on there. I started noticing, and I started commenting, at least initially, it just kind of felt really good. And he started explaining to me, the rep did, Daniel, what separated their pulleys and cables apart. And that kind of caught my attention. And I said, well, you got to tell me that again. Let's get that in recording. So you're going to see him get into that here on another clip. Then I went ahead and just started increasing the weight. You did hear him mention before how they increase the weight on here. So I think for the average person, this weight is going to be plenty. I don't even think I max out the whole weight stack. And I can tell you this was plenty difficult. This is still moderate. I'm still kind of filling it out. But I will just say this reminded me a lot of the vibes I was getting in here was, I'm not gonna say it was close to the gold standard, but close to those Nautilus upright leg presses. I always think those were great. So I do go ahead and just kind of up the intensity here a little bit. You can see the bulletproof booth is back there. I could say, hold another video about that if you guys are curious, but that's another story. So that might be the full stack, I don't know, but that was plenty. I remember being on that and feel like this was probably adequate for most people, and it was still challenging, especially if you consider the tempo and how that overall felt. So great leg press attachment or accessory, no question, or add-on. All right, next getting into some of the other parts of the machine, you're gonna see I'm gonna set up first for chest presses first, and the machine as a whole was pretty intuitive, just as far as setup and knobs and pins, and I think you saw Daniel, I don't mess with it too much, but just the backrests and the pads and the bottom seat, I don't think I mess with that too much. Now, when I first saw this thing years ago, I want to say maybe going over, I don't know, 5-something years, because I almost considered picking this up a while ago, right around like actually the lockdown time. And I think they used to even sell this on Amazon at one point. But when I saw these straps, this was really attractive to me. Now it's interesting because you do still feel like you are kind of pinned a little bit. It's better, I'd say, than not having them. Of course, you don't have to use those free straps, so it's nice to have them. I didn't even try a basic press. I'm sure that would feel fine too. I do go ahead and just use the basic levers, which can work just connected, or they can also work unilaterally as well. I think you can disconnect them so you can kind of go one at a time. And I did hear he told me the setup for this, I think you do have to pay like an installer for these machines because they're pretty involved in the way they are kind of assembled based on what, again, he told me. I'm sure it's not that complicated though. You can see me fiddling there with the rest. Want to keep this one more in long time here, but notice the stretch. So I want to show you guys how you can move them unilaterally if you guys want to, but you definitely get a nice deep stretch. That was something I was trying to really instill and check that out. So there's actually the anchor point again there for the handles there, but definitely get a nice stretch. And you can go one at a time, two at a time. You can see the weight that is on the stack there. It was just moderate weight. And at my parents' house, same kind of deal. I think I did the same exact kind of setup when my parents had like a hoist machine, which actually Hoist makes good stuff too, still to this day. Although I thought they were even more commercial, but I still see they make some home gym multi-unit machines. I did ask Daniel about that. He said they're still, I think, one of the few companies that are still kind of staying true to these multi-unit machines. Here he showed me just kind of a little, I guess you could say a little mini hack of sorts to kind of get into kind of like a reach, almost like a bent over row type position. That did feel really good. Now I'm going ahead and set up for leg extension, leg curls. And you might have saw some videos in this. I was going to make a video on this. Other people kind of covered it, but I will just say the long and short of it was there was not a whole lot of leg extension, leg curls that I thought were really decent. I tried a lot of them. Some let me down, honestly. But all I'm going to say is that the leg extension, leg curl, surprisingly felt very good. It wasn't perfect. I think you guys can see the range of motion there, but even for the leg extensions, leg curls, you can see me kind of adjusting that kind of here on the fly. I wanted to show you that. You do get a deep enough stretch, I would say, for the leg extension, leg curls. Now, is it like perfect? No, but for sure beat some of the other more expensive, bigger brands, I'll just say that, on their own leg extension, leg curls on a single unit machine, which is kind of going to my whole point here that if you're gonna invest in one thing or one sort of multi-unit machine, maybe you gotta make a couple sacrifices, but the sacrifice, or the trade-off, I should say, is the fact that you get to kind of have one set station that does a lot of different things. So I wanna say this multi-unit machine might even be able to fit in this little corner nook over here to my left. for my leg extension leg curl where it's at. So be that as it may, if you're looking for like a single station type of setup that does a lot, this would be pretty good. I'm not sure how you can orient the leg extension, the leg press, if you can possibly go on the other side. Bicep curls here felt excellent, no problem at all whatsoever, felt super smooth. And now you're gonna hear Daniel actually talk about why this stuff feels smooth based on the way they design their cables and pulleys.
So one of the unique things about Inspire Fitness gyms in general, especially for the home gyms, is our unique combination of pulley and cabling. It's one of the things that makes it so much smoother than just about anything else you're going to feel on the market. You know, the word that we tend to use is buttery. It feels so beyond smooth. And there's two things that are really contributing to that. One is the actual cable material. So in almost every single home gym or commercial gym, you're going to find a nylon cased cable. Now, nylon is amazing. It's 10 out of 10 durability. It's fantastic if you need something that's just going to stand up to it. Well, we actually use a polyurethane coating, and the reason we do that is it's a little bit softer and it actually grips better. So if you try to take a cable this thickness that's coated in nylon, you can't bend it like this. And if it can bend like this around a pulley, it's actually going to feel a lot smoother, okay? So now polyurethane, it's an 8 out of 10, but that's okay because we put a lifetime warranty on it. Cables are wear items anyways, and we're always just going to replace it for you. So that's how we stand behind it. The second step of that is actually the pulleys and the pulley materials in the manufacturing process. So, you know, there's a lot of different ways you can do pulleys now. What we prefer is something that is an easier material to work with. These are resin, pulleys. And when it's a softer material like this versus a metal pulley or something like that, you can actually take an extra manufacturing step, and we do, to perfectly lathe out and smooth out the inside of these pulleys. So there's absolutely zero imperfections, so that when I start pulling this, it pulls perfectly and smoothly and makes sure that it's the best experience as you're pulling and doing the work.
Daniel, the rep, or I believe he's lead of marketing or something in one of his divisions, definitely formally trained. And ironically, the guy who I said was also really good from Force USA used to work for Inspire or Center. So those guys must do a good job just in training and getting good people, because definitely the second best, or I would say tied with, I forget the guy's name over at Force USA, the new rep over there. So all good stuff there as far as like just sales and telling you what's good about it. And actually, I forgot to mention this too. He had a whole spiel about that machine you guys just saw. They had a claim to fame about how they were one of the original all-in-one trainers. So I'll leave it at that. They can kind of work that out. But the point is, Inspire's been around for a long time. You guys have been asking me about this machine. If you guys want to see a full review about this Inspire machine or something else like this, definitely let me know. I still think you're going to see a lot more of this stuff in the home gym community, finally starting to adopt the old school techniques and methods and getting outside of dogmatic stuff where it's barbells and racks or nothing. So happy to see this new evolution, stuff kind of turning the page a little bit. As always though guys, if you like this video, please like, share, subscribe. I don't even think I have an affiliate link with these guys. If I do, I'll drop it in there, but I don't think I do. So very least you guys can do like, share, subscribe. I got some other links down there, helps pay the bills and feed the kids as always. Thank you guys for watching. See you on the next one.